Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is Movie Talk. This week's movie is another classic from 1982, and that is The Flight of Dragons. Now, this movie was made by Rankin Bass, the same people who brought us The Last Unicorn, and it is loosely based on a 1979 speculative historical narrative book by Peter Dickens, by the name of The Flight of Dragons, and also by a 1976 novel called The Dragon and the George, the first book in a series called The Dragon Knight, which was written by Gordon R. Dickson. Now, this movie tells of a quest to protect the last realm of magic from an evil wizard. And it is very masterfully done. It combines knights and archers and dragons and wizards and elves and talking animals and other creatures that existed in a very mythical, that you would expect to see in a very mythical type movie. And it also deals with the question of whether or not magic and technology, or logic, as they state in this movie, can coexist together. And that is actually the big question throughout most of the movie. Now, this movie had a host of wonderful voice actors, despite the fact that there weren't a lot of characters in it. They actually had very few characters, but a very good movie, so it kind of balanced itself out. Now, the main focus of the movie is on those in the quest. The young green dragon Gorbash, the older brownish red dragon Smeargle, the great black and white wolf Arak, the elven outlaw Giles, the archer Danielle, the knight Sir Orin Neville Smine and his horse Lancer, and their leader Peter Dickinson. It also focuses on the villain, the Red Wizard Omadon, and his dragon Brayog, and also on the one who inspired the quest, the Green Wizard Carolinus, and his adoptive daughter, Princess Melisande. But it also focuses on two other wizards in the movie, very briefly, but they're important enough to be given names in important places within the movie. The Blue Wizard Solarius and the Golden Wizard Lochazal. And before we move on, if I mispronounced any of these characters' names, I apologize, as some of them are a little hard to pronounce, as they are somewhat Old Englishy names. Now, as I said, this movie hosted a lot of wonderful voice actors, but only one of them I really knew before and after this movie. Now, not that I knew of him before the movie, but I have seen him in stuff before and after this movie, and that is James Earl Jones, who voiced Omadon, and Star Wars fans will recognize him as the voice of Darth Vader from the original Star Wars trilogy. Now, Omadon attends a meeting with his brothers in the hopes of saving what little magic they have left and the few enchanted creatures that still live from being destroyed because man's choosing logic over magic, and magic is slowly dying. However, Carolinus, who is voiced by Harry Morgan, says that magic, or that science and logic can't exist without magic. Mankind needs to turn to magic, even if we don't realize we're turning to magic, to further our own scientific endeavors. And he lists a few things, such as the dragon's vulnerable scale, inspires armor, battleship, and tanks, fairies flying, inspires us to build airplanes, and a wizard's crystal ball inspires us to create television and radio. Now, Lothario and Solarius agree with their brother. But Omadon doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He claims that his powers are growing stronger because he is the master of dark magic. And his brothers are, Carolinus is the wizard of the natural world, nature and animals and stuff. Solarius is the wizard of outer space and deep oceans. And Lothario, I'm sorry, I have to say his name very, very slow, very, very slowly, and kind of sound it out as it is an Asian name, and it's some of those I just have to say that way. Is the wizard of healing and peace. Now, when they have to inspire this quest, Lothario obviously cannot help, as all members of his realm are very peaceful and not suitable for a quest where there would be fighting. But he does help out in a way that he gives Carolinus a magical flute of healing to give to the leader that Antiquity chooses, and Antiquity is what governs all magic, in the hopes of, in some small way, he will be able to help that way. Now, Solarius wants to help fight. He says he can inspire Neptune and great whales and serpents from the sea to help, but unfortunately this quest would be waged on land, so he couldn't help either. But he does give, much like Lothario gives the flute of healing magic, he gives the shield of Saturn, but also to help out. So in some small way he helps out. He also helps out in another way, as in he's the one who brings Arak to the group. And I don't want to give away how he does that. You're just going to have to watch the movie. Now, Peter is the very most unique character in the movie, as he is not from this magical world where the movie takes place. He's actually from our time. And unfortunately, he gets merged with Gorbash before the quest can start. That's why Smeargle goes with them, because originally it was supposed to be Gorbash, Peter, and Sir Orin who were going to start the quest, because magical quests need to have three members to start, and whatnot. So that's how old Smeargle, who is an elderly dragon, kind of goes on the quest. And along the way they meet Arak and Danielle and Giles, who join them as well. And again, lots of wonderful voice actors in this movie. Arak, who is one of my favorite characters in the movie, I'm just going to be frank, I loved the animals in this movie. I loved how the animals talked in this movie. So Gorbash, Smeargle, and Arak were my top 3 favorite characters in this movie. And I did, not that I didn't like the human characters, it's just, I liked those 3 better because I just did. But anyways, Arak is was voiced by Victor Burnout, I believe is how you say his name. And he actually knew Gorbash and Smeargle before the quest. Danielle, who was voiced by Nellie Bellflower, was unknown to them, but she knew of Sir Oren, as her father was a minstrel or a bard or something like that, and would sing stories of his adventures. So she kind of grew up. Sir Oren was kind of like a hero to her when she was a little girl. And then Giles kind of gets into a little bit of trouble as he and his wood elf compatriots attack Sir Oren and Arak and the dragons, believing them to be raiders. But then he, learning his error, eventually joins up with them, as all will suffer under Omadon if they don't fulfill this quest. Princess Melisande, just because I want to get through the voice actors here, was voiced by Alexandra Stradart, I believe is how you say her last name. And Peter Dickens was voiced by John Ritter, and the remaining voice actors actually did dual characters. Paul Frees voiced both Solarius and Antiquity. James Gregor voiced both Smeargle and Breag. Bob McFadden voiced both Gorbash and Sir Oren. And Don Messick, I believe is how you say his last name, voiced both Lo Tijal and Giles. One of the things I loved about this movie was the animation. Rankin Bass has a very unique animation style. I've noticed it in the 3 movies, flat screen, traditional animated movies that they did. The Last Unicorn, The Flight of Dragons, and The Hobbit. Well, 4, The Return of the King as well. I've also noticed it in the original, and the Silverhawks and the original Thundercats. They have a very it's a very unique animation style. The backdrops are very enchanting, very, very enchanting. Even Silverhawks, which takes place in space, they had this talent of making space look enchanting, which is neat. And the characters, they managed to make look very unique as well. I love the style they use. It's just really beautiful and really breathtaking, not just the backdrops, but the characters. I loved the dragons in this movie. Obviously, it's called Flight of Dragons, so we see more than 3 dragons. Each wizard has a dragon of his own. Lotijal has a pink and blue dragon named Lunarian, and no, not Lotijal. Solarius has a pink and blue dragon named Lunarian. Excuse me, I got the brothers mixed up. And Lotijal has a green and yellow dragon named Shunzu, and Shunzu is actually a traditional Asian dragon, which I thought was a very unique touch for him, considering he is designed with a very Asian look to him. So I thought that's very unique. Rather than giving him a dragon that's designed like all the other dragons in the movie, they give him a dragon that's designed more to the Asian style. It's very long, it's got very short legs and very short wings, it's got a mane, it's got a mustache, so it's a very Asian look to it, which I thought was a very unique touch. I was actually very disappointed that we didn't see more Asian dragons in this movie. A lot of the all the other dragons we see in this movie are based off of the more European style. But what I liked about it is very much like How to Train Your Dragon. All the dragons we see are unique. They're different colors, different, their horns are shaped differently and whatnot. Like, Gorbash and Smeargle are related. Well, they're not really related. Smeargle kind of raises him. But they look, you look at the 2 of them because you see a lot of them together, particularly after Peter and Gorbash become merged. there are some similarities, but some differences. And I'm like, I love that. It would have been so easy to just use a carbon copy dragon for all of them and make Brayog look a little different because he's supposed to be the bad dragon in this movie, but they didn't. They made all the dragons look unique, and I loved that. I also loved the music in this movie. There's really only one song, and that's the opening song, Flight of Dragons. But this movie really didn't need a lot of singing in it. It just needed the one song to open the movie, and then just have instrumental throughout. The rest was really good. I really liked that. The other three movies that I mentioned by Rankin Bass, The Last Unicorn, The Hobbit, and The Return of the King, all had songs scattered throughout them. Now, The Return of the King I have not seen in a while. I am currently looking for the DVD, and when I find it, I promise I will watch it and do a movie talk video on it. But The Hobbit and The Last Unicorn, the songs didn't hinder the movie at all. And it actually helped put particularly and it helped you kind of get a feel of the situation, as particularly in The Hobbit, as they had certain songs that the goblins sang that kind of got you in the mood, or kind of pulled you into it. And in The Last Unicorn, I felt the music kind of really helped because they picked the music that worked with that scene. But this movie really didn't need a ton of songs. They didn't need songs while they were traveling or whatnot. They had the one song at the beginning when they were doing the credits, or the opening credits, and they had melody throughout, which I thought was a very nice touch. And then so that was just a little different from some of the other movies they did. Again, I can't comment on The Return of the King, as the only Return of the King that I've seen was I've seen recently has been the live action one. So be patient. I am looking for that for the animated one by Rankin Bass. I found The Flight of Dragons, which was hard to find for a long time. So I'm pretty sure I can find that movie. So I'm going to keep looking. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Trying to think here. Excuse me. But this was just a movie I really liked. It's a movie that my sister and I used to watch a lot. When we were little, we used to pretend that Gorbash and Smeargle lived in our backyard, and we have a cherry and an apple tree in our backyard, and we used to pick the cherries and the apples off of the tree and throw them under the slide. We were just, little kids, elementary school, and we would throw them under the slide like we were feeding cherries and apples to Smeargle and Gorbash and whatnot. That stopped when Mom and Dad started making us pick them up before they would cut the back grass, and it was like, this isn't fun anymore. So we kind of stopped doing it after that, which was, probably the whole goal of that by our parents to get us to stop doing that. It's like, oh, well, if we have to pick it up, we're going to stop doing it. Yeah, we used to pretend that, my sister used to pretend that she had Gorbash, and I pretended I had Smeargle. And it's a movie that I grew up with, so it has a lot of sentimental memories tied to it, a lot of childhood memories tied to it, which I think is why I love it so much. Along with The Last Unicorn and The Hobbit the same way. It's all, and The Return of the King, all four of them are movies I basically grew up watching, so so they have a lot of childhood memories tied in there. Again, watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, wow, there is some darkness to this movie that I can't believe Mom and Dad let us watch. But again, we were more pulled into the whole fantasy world than we were really focusing on what was actually going on and in the darkness. I mean, we did focus a little on the darkness. I'm pretty sure there were some times that we were freaked out about Brag and Omadon, but other than that, it wasn't that bad. Couple of things, considering that The Hobbit came out a couple of years prior to this movie, that I would have liked to have seen, particularly since The Hobbit and The Flight of Dragons were made by the same studio. I would have liked Giles, since he was supposed to be an elf, to look more like the elves from The Hobbit and The Return of the King, which were tall and very human-like, except they were thin and had the pointed ears. Giles was actually very small and compact. And I'm like, okay, it's by the same series, it's by the same company. Why didn't you make him look the same as the ones there? Because those were beautiful elves. I mean, not so much the wood elves, but the, like, Aaron, I believe is how you say the Elf King's name, and Legolas from The Return of the King, were very nicely drawn elves, and I would have liked Giles to look like that, or even look like the wood elves from, you know, The Hobbit would have been good. He looked more like a dwarf than an elf to me. So I would have liked that. I did like the dragon design, the designs of the dragons in this movie over the design of, I just watched the movie yesterday and I drew a blank on the name of the dragon from The Hobbit. Smaug. I believe Smaug was his name. But isn't that funny how that happens? Like, I literally just watched the movie yesterday and I drew a blank on his name. Anyways, I liked the design of the dragons in this movie over the designs of Smaug from The Hobbit, and I will get into that in the, my video on The Hobbit, so be patient. And despite what I heard about it, I'll probably get the live action versions of The Hobbit, and once I do a movie talk on those movies, I'll probably compare that with The Hobbit, but I'll think about it and I'll let you know. But I did like the design over that, 'cause I just thought Smaug didn't look really good, but I love the design of the dragons in this movie. It's like, okay, so it took about, let's see, that movie was made in 1977, this one was made in 82, so it took about 5 years for them to perfect a dragon design. It's like, okay. Maybe different animators did the dragons for the two different movies, but I did like the design of the dragons in The Flight of Dragons. Like, this is called The Flight of Dragons. We have to make the dragons look good in this movie. And they did look good. So, they looked really, really nice. Actually looked like dragons from a lot of the books I read, you know, the Dragonlance novels, and they looked like some of the dragons from the covers of those books, so I really did like that. But anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video as it's going longer than I wanted it to, and I apologize for that, but I really, really, really love The Flight of Dragons. It is one of my top favorite movies. Feel free to follow, like, and subscribe. It helps me a lot. I'm up to 4 subscribers. When I get up to 5 subscribers, I will, and I swear on my beloved fur babies and my collection of Star Wars stuffed animals, and by Star Wars stuffed animals, I mean that they are stuffed animals named after Star Wars characters. If I get up to 5 subscribers, I will do a video of the Last Unicorn. It'll be a short video where I will actually sing The Last Unicorn, if I can get up to 5 subscribers. So, you know, one more, and I'll do that. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The information will be in the description. Will be in the description. And also feel free to leave your comments. I'm actually starting today, I'm going to leave a question at the end of each video, which I would like you all to answer honestly. And for this one, since we are talking about a movie that dealt with the question of whether science and magic can coexist, I'm actually going to put 2 questions before you. One is, do you think science and magic actually can or could coexist? And which would you rather live in, a world of science or a world of magic? Please leave your answers in the comment section. And I will, and thank you for watching my video. I'm Jennifer. This has been Movie Talk, and I will see you next time. And before I sign off, I just want to say one thing. I do have to work Monday or Friday and Saturday of this week, as it is Sunday today. And I apologize for not getting the movie out yesterday. I was just really busy. And I'm not 100% sure if I have to work next Sunday or Monday. So rather than make you wait 2 to 4 days for a video, I'm just going to post my next Movie Talk video a day early, so we posted on Thursday. So I will see you then, and have a very nice day.